Nathan here. Just thought I would check in as we head into the new year. Give it a couple of moments for us to load up online, make sure everyone's tuning in. Hey guys, hope everyone is doing awesome. Just wanted to do a quick little shout out to everybody and wish everyone a new year. A couple of things I want to cover off on today's video. Keep it pretty sort of concise, maybe sort of 10-15 minutes for you guys that are tuning in. Thought I'd get myself a drink. I don't normally drink. This one here is a Jack Daniels double little can thing. It's tiny. Just thought I'd have a little chat and little Facebook Live. Last time we did bath time. Last year I did bath time with Birchie. Today we're doing bourbons with Birchie. Don't normally drink, as I always say, but just thought I'd crack some open as we head into 2021. What a year 2020 was, guys. Don't know for yourselves, how your year was. One thing that I've realised recently is a lot of people did have a not so good 2020, and that's bad, but we all have bad times as well, and it's how we adapt, grow, manoeuvre, and navigate through those times. So I'm going to go through a few little things now that I've observed this year, a couple of things that I do at this time of the year. It's a little bit dark here and maybe a little bit bird chirpy, but just on the water, relaxing, taking a bit of time out to reflect on the year that was and to sort of plan for the year that's ahead, being 2021. So hopefully if this year has been anything to go by, 2021 will be amazing. So who would have thought, here we are heading into 2020 and seeing all the comments coming through, guys. Thanks for the feedback and thanks to the community for this year as well. Who would have thought this time last year that the world would be where it is today? I remember in March a lot of people were messaging me. Thanks for everyone that was messaging me. Asked me, are you okay, Nathan? I know you're exposed, you've got lots of debt, you've got lots of staff, you've got all these things going on. Hopefully you're okay. I was actually doing great and I never done better. I have been through painful times. A lot of people have been through painful times in 2020. That wasn't one of them for me. For me, maybe the last sort of 3-4 years were a little bit tight when APRA came in, change of lending. Going back about 4 years ago, I went and bought $10 million worth of property and didn't have a loan, and I put down about $1 million worth of deposit was on the table, and I had to settle that, and APRA came in the middle and changed that, which made it extremely difficult. Had to dispose of a few properties at the time, which I sold all at the peak of the market, and we sort of saw that it was going to be a depression, and that was something that I was very blessed by. At the time it didn't feel so great because things were a bit tight and I had to manoeuvre all these property settlements with not so much finance, and it sort of didn't have any sort of too big effect, but it could have had if the mindset wasn't right at the time. So I had to sort of manoeuvre through a changing finance market. I knew that the time would come that we would see a mass issue out there. Just didn't know what it would be branded as. I called it the global financial depression. Most people would call it what they call it today. But I did know that at the time that would occur, that we would see some amazing things happen. And that is why 2020, I believe, has been one of the best years as an investor, as a person mentally, spiritually, has been really, really amazing because I've been prepared for it for 4 years. So, things aren't always that easy out there in life. Sometimes you have a good time, and sometimes you have a not so good time. So, looking at 2020 and the year that was for myself personally, it was the greatest year of my life. We're in a world today where we've got interest rates at 0.1%. We're going to be going in negative in 2021. I keep going to call it in 2020, but we're going to see it go negative in 2021, and we're going to see some really cool things happen with new stimulus packages come out. We're going to see in March the rollback of APRA. So as I said beforehand, I was settling $10 million worth of property in about 2016, and then when that occurred, I couldn't get the funding at that point, which caused a lot of pain. And I settled all the properties, I own all the properties, and that was the tightening moment in the market. They had tightened the market all the way up until 2020, and then 2020 is hit, and now we've got quantitative easing happening again. So this is an amazing time. There's been a lot of growth out there. I know a lot of you in the community have done some really amazing things, growing your positions. I've got some little notes here as to what I've been privy to within the community, and sort of where we've been able to help as a business. And I will touch on that in a moment, and run through some of the cool results that you guys have been able to do just this year, and as a business, some of the results of what we've been able to do on behalf of the community, and talk about some of my plans moving forward. With it, looking at some of the things from this year. So when Corona first hit, there was a lot of people, whilst I'm not a financial advisor, I don't like financial advisors, we had a lot of people that had taken their money from their super funds and put in a self-managed super. Our guy that runs the self-managed super fund side of things, he helped with a lot of the liquidity within our investors' super funds, and at a point in February when the stock market had lost about 30% of its value at that point, there was a 1% loss, and that was the point of the sellout from those super funds that were managed via our trustee financial planner. Looking at some of the cool things that we've done as a business, I'll start with the community actually. On average this year, our investors pulled out $32,760 equity per property purchased. So people buying properties, they're going back straight away, pulling out equity to the tune of $32,760 per purchase. That was an average figure. The average day after settlement that our investors waited to extract equity this year was 17 days from purchase. So there's so many amazing stories that we've been able to see this year. Actually, correct. Thank you very much for that. There is a scammer alert, everybody. Someone has hopped onto our live and tried to hijack our live with a Bitcoin. Do not someone has hopped onto the Facebook Live and put in there about they've asked for Bitcoin. I don't request for anything in here, so thanks a lot for that, Rowena. So someone had popped into the feed and asked for Bitcoin from people to deposit it. They'd taken our logo, they had made themselves look like they were from B.Invested. So just be very careful with that. So thanks a lot for pointing out that in the comment section, guys. So that threw me off. I was like, what's this thing here? So thanks a lot for giving us the feedback on that. So the average day after settlement for people to be able to pull their equity out in 2020 was 17 days. So on average, 17 days to pull equity out of the properties. Our average investor pulled out $32,760 per property purchased, which was really cool to see. It seems that we're going through a depression, an alleged market crash, and our investors were able to do those results. We had 19 investors go from 0 properties to 6+ properties this year. So they started the year with 0 properties. They ended up at the end of the year with 6 or more properties. So that's really cool. So congratulations. We had 26 investors reached 10 plus properties in their portfolio this year, which is really cool. We had 183 investors buy 3 properties in 2020, which is really cool. And we helped a total of 839 first-time investors in 2020. So that's really, really cool. So considering that we are in a depression, we're in one of the biggest, biblical sort of proportion times in the world, and we get to experience that. That's why I'm so blessed and so happy to see people kicking ass at that period of time. So yeah, looking at it, that's some of the stuff our community has done. Some of the results of our business and what we've done as a business. Those of you that don't know, B.Invested have got a large suite of businesses that we've built, ranging from a law firm, accountancy practice, financial planning, buyer's agency, education business, finance, motels, and all different stuff. So just looking at a few of the top line figures here. Over on our finance team, we wrote more than 300 million in loans, which is really cool. We had $50 million worth of equity extracted for our investors, which is cool. Our buyer's agency, we purchased over $400 million worth of assets this year on behalf of our investors out there, so that's a cool number. That's almost $500 million worth of property we bought this year. From the aspect of property management and rentals, that was my last job of the year. I just signed off on our rents for our investors, so we manage $1.9 billion worth of properties under management. We've collected over $50 million in rents on behalf of our investors this year. Looking at some of the markets, this time last year, what was rental vacancies like? What is the market like now? I know in the Queensland office, we have thousands of properties from end to end of Queensland. We have less than 10 properties available for lease, which is very, very low. Very, very low to have that. Like that's less than 0.5% of vacancy or properties coming up for lease, which is unbelievable. Like it's very hard to find that. In New South Wales, which the office is run from my head office, we had 1 property vacant. Well, it was actually 0, but we had 1 come vacant on the 23rd of December, which was one of my properties, and besides that we have no other vacant properties. So rental vacancies are very low, which is great. The rents in some areas have taken a hit this year, and in some areas have gone up greatly. Looking, for example, at the Gold Coast and Brisbane and Sunshine Coast, some properties have gone up between $30 to $80 per week. If you had 10 properties and you increase your income by say $35 a week, that's about 20 grand a year in extra income that you're getting. So a lot of people have been able to increase their cash flow this year, even though we've been in a bad time. Couple that with interest rates at almost nothing. You can now in 2020 be able to get a loan with a 1 in front of the percentage point, right? Under 2%. That's insane in any sort of category to imagine that you've got loans at that level. And I think in 2021 we're going to see even greater levels of insanity out there as we see the economic system that we're in collapse. So there's going to be a lot of pain. If you thought that 2020 was bad for you, be prepared. 2021 could be a hell of a lot worse. I'm not trying to be the Grinch, right? I'm just trying to be reality. And look at how can you prepare, how can you plan, how can you make sure that 2021 is going to be a better year for you. The world is a screwed up place. There is a lot of bad things that happen out there, but your world doesn't have to be that way. So it's how you carry yourself and the things that you do and the actions that you take that leads you to where you ultimately are. So a lot of people did have a lot of pain in 2020 from Corona and all those sorts of things. However, a lot of people have done very, very well for themselves. And some businesses that were initially hit pretty hard have remodeled their business, scaled, moved, and repositioned himself and gone on to reach great new heights. And that's the opportunity that's really out there to capitalize on. Doesn't matter whether it's in property, whether it's in business, or whatever the case is for you. Look for the opportunity, because I think that 2021 will have a lot more bad things happen, totalitarian, fascist, communist things happen, where we're tagged, tracked, traced. We're going to lose rights. We're a fascist, totalitarian, commie state that we all live in, which is exciting as well. There will be people on the upper echelon of society, and there will be people that will be unfortunate. And I guess it's, if you look at it like a game, and that's really what life is. How can you get to that next level, and how can you improve your own personal position in life? So I guess if we look forward to 2021 and what I'll be doing for the next few days, I've been offline for a little bit. I've been going out and checking out some of the properties that I purchased this year. I actually made a few notes of my own property portfolio this year. Some of the additions that I had in my portfolio is that I bought 5 motels. I bought 6 normal properties, sort of foundation properties, what we'd call them. I bought a 5 million square metre farm, and also bought another 40,000 square metres of land in Sydney. So, all those properties I had to do cash, unfortunately, just because the banks don't like lending to Nathan at the moment. But maybe next year when APRA changes its rulings, I've got sort of 40 mil, 50 mil worth of equity there that I can go and extract. So yeah, it will be an exciting year, and exciting things that are to be ahead for next year. So looking at, sorry, I've got things popping up on my screen everywhere. Looking at what I'll be doing the next few days. I'm going to be locking myself away with my own little pool. I'll be in a different destination. I've just been travelling. I'll be travelling for the next while, and kicking back, chilling, checking out new locations, and putting myself in a good place. So I had a big year, like very big hours. 2019 actually for me was a pretty crap year. I moved a lot of offices, did a lot of restructuring. I actually didn't have a day off in 2019. I had no days off. In 2020 I had a few days off. Still worked very hard, but I'm looking forward to relaxing a little bit at the moment, and taking this opportunity to reflect on what the last year was for me, what the last 3 years were for me, what the last 5 years were for me, sort of recalibrating as to where I'm heading in the future. I was talking to one of my mates on the phone earlier. Had a chat with him for about an hour and a half whilst I was out at the shops, and we were talking about it. I said, look, what's your goals for next year? And he goes, I don't know, and he might be watching this. And I said, you need to work on what are your goals for 2021? How are you going to kick ass? And he goes, I want to be successful, I want to do this. And I was like, that's not good enough. And I started just ripping into him and grilling him, and he's like, fuck, we were just having a chat 2 minutes, and now we're getting pretty heavy. And I said, no, you need to be very, very clear on what you do. So how many holidays are you going to have next year? How many properties are you going to buy? What are the costs of those properties? How are you going to obtain them? What are you going to do in your own business? How's your business going to grow? What actions do you need to do? And I think, I asked him all these things, and he's like, wow, yeah, I need to write this down. And then as he was like writing down stuff, we were just chatting on the phone. I was like, now anything that doesn't fit in line with that person that you want to become, you need to remove it. So I see a lot of people out there, and this is just like a little laughing one, because we've got a drink here. Have a little drink, guys. First one today, and I don't normally drink, so yeah, lucky I only bought 4 of them. I was talking to him about sort of where to for next year, and when he said all the things he wanted to do, I was like, okay, anything that comes into your life that is not going to help you get there, you need to remove. Because once you have clarity, the world stands aside for the person who knows where they're going. If you have clarity on what it is that you're trying to achieve, you have clarity on who the person is that you want to become, you know what to either gravitate to or remove. A lot of people just allow life to happen, right? Now look out on the street and there's so many people that are just, happy, and they're like, oh wow. They're not thinking too much. They might go out tonight, get shit-faced, and go, ooh, 2021, I'm going to stop this, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to do the next thing, but they're not actually willing to do what it takes to become that person. So, being committed is probably the most important part. Having clarity is very important. So a lot of people will, fold over on the clock of midnight and say, my whole life's going to change when I wake up tomorrow, and they're going to go back to the same habits that made them have a good or a miserable 2020. Right? And they're just purely habits. I think it's important to look at where you've come from to where you are today, no matter how old or when the last time you looked at this was. But take the time out. Most people will go out and get shit-faced and think they're awesome and all that, and that's probably cool, and go and enjoy yourself, right? But when are you gonna take that time to focus on you and work out, we're in a new year. How is this next year going to be for me? Who am I going to be the person that when you sit here this time next year, who is the person you've become? How have you evolved? Are you going to be happy with that person? A lot of it comes from within. So, this isn't a financial thing. It's just purely whether it's from a personal perspective, a family perspective, whether it's seeing your children, whether it be that you go out traveling, whether it be that you whatever it is that you want to do, make sure that you're, living that best life for yourself. The slogan for B.Invested is live life on your terms. Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to click over in 2021 and still not being able to live life on their terms. And, I think it's important to have personal liberty and freedom. The reason why I talk about some of this weird stuff I've spoken about in 2020 has mainly been due to the fact that, I just like living life on my terms, right? Financially, that's what I had to focus on first, because that freed me from having to, contribute and go to a job and all that sort of stuff every day of the week. But once I was able to remove the need for money, then the whole game changed. It was the matrix. That's why I refer back to the matrix so much. But 2020 has given so much that people will not even, look back and go, wow, that was great. A lot of awakenment, a lot of changes in our lives that we've had to or been forced to make to survive. And a lot of people sitting on their bus, going to work every day, losing their job and going, shit, that wasn't really worth it. Sometimes we need something that's going to push us into a different place, and 2020 has been cool for that. 2021 is what you make of it. So the questions that I leave you guys with is, who is the person you want to be this time next year? What are your goals? What are your goals financially? What are your goals personally? What are your goals spiritually? What are your goals health-wise? What are your goals community-wise? What are your goals, family-wise? What action steps can you add to? We've only all got 24 hours in our day. Be smarter with that time. Be, strategic with how you carry your life. There's so many things that could be considered as distractions in my day-to-day life, where it could be like, okay, cool, let's go and run and do that, but it would distract me from my course. It would take me off course from the person that I want to be. There's so many people that say, I want to do this, I want to do that, and unfortunately they're going to be continuing to say, I'm going to be doing this, because you're just a gunner, right? But rarely do you find people that will go, okay, I'm committed to making this big change, whatever it costs, whatever it takes. That's what I want to do to get there. So have clarity on that. 2021, what is it for you? I've put a little link into the comment section of this video. It's a link to a webinar that I did recently. It was only meant to go for about an hour. I did it with a mate of mine, Bo Chase, who also helps people from a business perspective enable greatness. So if you want to speak to Bo, reach out to my team and we'll be able to put you in contact with him for your business. He's been able to help us with our business and with the B.Invested community over 2020. And I did a webinar with him regarding goal setting and planning. It was meant to go for about an hour and a half. It ended up going for 3.5 to 4 hours, so it is a long video, but I got so excited by the content and what was coming out, and I think it was probably one of my best videos I've ever done on goal setting and planning and strategy. So we're at a start, we're at the end of a year, we're at the start of a year. It is something very different as well, right? We've got all these forces that are coming to us. Also note, it is the end of a decade, right? It is technically the end of the decade as of midnight tonight, as we roll into the next decade. So, what will that decade look like? That's, the exciting part. We've got changes in the financial system. We've got changes in society in general. We've got, a lot of really weird and wacky shit that's going on. Whether it's from everyone being forced to take these ones, or whether it be this thing happening to everybody, or whether it be the new payment system that's coming in from from social credits. A lot of people at the end of the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, within this decade, we're going to see a lot of people on socialist insecurity. Right? A lot of people think it's social security, but socialist insecurity is what we're going to see a lot of people on. What is a depression as well, right? Like a depression, has many definitions, but being able to have having a less of a lifestyle of what you had beforehand is probably the prime part of a depression. And there's a lot of people that are tied in the system with this free money and money printing it's not going to stop. They can't stop. If you think that we're going to see the end of this socialist insecurity programs that are going on at the moment in March, it's not going to end. They're going to have to keep printing money. They might end it for a month or for a quarter. They might slow it down, but they're going to have to keep printing this money because we are in a Ponzi scheme. People are going to be stuck in this system, and it's not too late, right? Like, educate yourself, whether it be growing a garden in 2021, whether it be that you learn a new trade or a new trick or something that you can do that will, give you self-sustainability, self-sufficiency. What can you do to, come out on top of this? And I'm very, very excited. I've never been more optimistic than living in life now. 35 years, heading into 36 years of being alive. I've had some really good times. I've had some really shit times. 2020 was hands down the best year of my life. And I feel that 2021 has so much more opportunity than what this year has had. And I'm very optimistic for the decade to come. So for the next maybe 2 to 3 days, it's not that I'm going to write a little list of five things that I'm going to do in 2021 that's going to make me a better person at peace with the world. I didn't become who I am today by chance. We're all here of a product of our options and our choices that we make in life, and having clarity, having commitment, having an understanding of where we're heading to. Is crucial to be successful, no matter what it is, right? We're talking about here property investing. Could be that you want to be a sports star or whatever the case may be. You need to have a strategy, you need to have commitment, you need to be focused on that. So I'm going to be taking the next sort of 3 days out to focus on my goals, to focus on myself, work out what 2021 is going to be for me. To be frank, I haven't had the chance to cover off on all that. I've put a few things around as to what I want to see for this next year. It's bloody hot here. It's bloody hot. It's very humid. They said it's meant to be raining, but don't see no rain, guys. But yeah, I'll be taking this time to focus from within as to what I want from a personal perspective, what I want from a professional perspective, what I want from a investing perspective, what I want from a business perspective, what I want from a spiritual perspective, what I want from a health perspective. And I'm going to just continuously work on that and live the best life, live the life of how I want it to be, live life on my terms, not dictated by a boss, not dictated by a system, not dictated by communism, not dictated by a regime. So, I wish everybody an awesome 2021. I wish support and give support to those that need help. Whether it be not just talking from a business perspective, but people that are doing it shit. How can we help people out there to become a better version of themselves? How can we help people that are finding it tough? How can we share knowledge? How can we share, the good things out there in life. So yeah, look forward to being a part of your lives. I want to thank all of you guys for your support in 2020. I want to thank you for your support over the last 12 years as well. We're going to our 12th year as a business at B.Invested. There's been a lot of changes over the years, a lot of growth. There also has been a lot of pain over the years, but nothing worthwhile in life is ever easy. I want to thank the community, each and every one of you that checks in and wants to be a part of the community. You know, I do this because of you guys more so. I could easily just not be seen and just focus on my own life. I'm trying to think of a lot of content for all of you guys to be able to, you know, share knowledge and whatever I'm working on and whatever I'm seeing happening at the time. So thanks a lot for that. I want to thank my team. At the B.Invested group of companies, I've got about 100 staff, and it's continuously growing. We doubled a lot of our teams this year in the business. I actually just remembered as I was saying that we've got a new office that we're getting on the 4th, so only in a couple of days' time. We've had to expand, so in our office building we've got more offices that we've got to take over because we're just so short of space. We've got another, I think, 11 people coming in to start in mid-January as a part of the teams. But yeah, I know there's been a lot of blood, sweat and tears over the years. You know, I'm forever indebted to a lot of my team members that have you know, been there through the trying days, the testing days and whatnot as well. So just want to thank, you know, all of you, how you've contributed for 2020, and wish you well for 2021. If there's anything that I can help you with, I'll be here. I'll be back in a couple of days doing some more videos talking about some of my plans for next year, some of my strategies. I'll share that with you guys. So if I can give you one little bit of inspiration to go, shit, I want to do that, you know, that's what'll be cool. So yeah, and just on a final note, three last things. First one, there is a link in the description. Click on that link. It will take you to entering your details for a webinar. That is a 3.5-hour webinar. It's free. You guys could learn one little thing out of it. If it could change your life in one way next year, it could give you, you know, that little idea, a little bit of confidence, a little bit of clarity, whether it be on your personal life, whether it be on your family life or work life or investing life. That'd be cool. So make sure you go check that out at some point during this time. And what was the other things I was going to talk about? If you're not on Birch Feed yet, make sure that you get on the Birch Feed. It is free, so no need to be a tight ass. You don't have to spend anything on it. So yeah, go to birchfeed.com. And a final thing, if we can help you in any way, whether it be from, you know, structuring your portfolio, starting your portfolio, increasing your rental, you know, improving your position in any way, feel free to reach out to my team, 1300 367 925. admin@binvested.com.au. Stay tuned. We'll catch up soon, guys. Take care. Bye for now.